So with each passing episode of the Ossan Newbie Adventurer, the show really does prove the haters wrong. And here's the thing, and I'll always say this. A show with like the kind of stupid strong character who doesn't know how strong he is. It's a formula that a lot of people don't like, and that's okay. But it is always weird when after like the first episode and you get into the second episode, when it's very clear that most of these shows keep them pretty oblivious, to be kind of Pikachu-faced that they are oblivious to how strong they are, because that's kind of the gag. It's like walking into a sports series and getting upset when you realize the characters play football and you're not a big fan of football. It's basically the equivalent. But the thing about this show is it actually is doing something you normally don't see. And they don't have to do this. They could have kept Rick a bumbling idiot who was oblivious to his Superman level strength. But instead, over the past couple of episodes, they've actually started to open his eyes to his own strength. And with episode 5, they pretty much commit to fully allowing Rick to accept that he's strong. Now, that doesn't mean they can't still have fun with him being oblivious. He could go up against other strong people, and I imagine it's not going to be a one-time gag of someone tripping and falling like they did in the first couple of episodes and him thinking it's some super move. It's just now, instead of him saying, damn, I'm pathetic and weak, it will be, damn, they're just way stronger than me, even if we know he's actually probably the strongest character in the series, at least if he could have mastered his hidden ability. And the idea that this show did something it didn't have to do. It didn't have to make Rick more obvious to his strength. And here's the thing. There would have been no issues if people just were like, you know, I'm not really a fan of that comedy. But there is a lot of people who you'll see in a show like this, or I Parry Everything, and they act like the characters being the way they are is unacceptable, but it's like, this is how they're written. If it's not how you like it, then just simply don't watch it. It's like I say, it's like going into a sports series and being shocked that they're playing sports. You kind of know what you're getting. But the thing about this show is it is truly special because it is remaining to be very funny, but actually progressing Rick in an interesting way. And between the reveal that he was more or less gaslit by this orc to think he's pathetic because he could smash a rock and this dude would say even a D-rank adventurer can do that. Yeah, it's understandable in terms of that, but then they're gonna say, yeah, but what about, you know, he killed a dragon. He woke up saying his magic circuits were destroyed. So the idea of understanding why he thought he was so weak for all this time and now why he's finally starting to accept his own strength is actually really great characterization. And honestly, there was some, I remember, I was reading the first couple of videos I did for this show and just seeing some thoughts online. They said some mad salty things about Rick and how he's one of the most pointless characters. We've seen him time and time again. And look at my boy by episode 5. Brilliant. Now, of course, I do have full live reactions to this wonderful show over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thought to any of these episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. I'm loving this. And here's the thing. With Rick now past his exam in the previous episode and obviously getting through that flashback, we are now in new uncharted territory because we're no longer just taking tests at an academy, right? It does kind of feel like we might be setting up maybe some Coliseum little tournament arc or something. I'm not sure based on the ending. But the idea of just simply it's pretty much in a way like Rick it's like he got home from school. He's like, hey bro, if you want to come over to my house, my parents are a little crazy, but if you do want to hang out, come on over. And this bastard does come over, and I think he probably regrets it. On one hand, it's so wholesome and cute because he's like being a wingman trying to teach Rick how to have the Riz, but then on the other hand, it's just fresh meat. Some of it wasn't too bad. I think at the end of the day, being given a rocket launcher and exploding something and having your life flash before your eyes about what tactical warfare will look like in the future, that's a little frightening, but hey, it's probably the easiest thing he went through. You pretty much jump into, and you're thinking, oh man, I hope my daughter's gonna be like this someday, and then you immediately realize that if your daughter just casually blows apart walls with lightning strikes, you got a lot of issues in those teenage years. But the worst, which we knew it was going to be, is this orc. This is a character that we know will gladly kill you because he can bring you back. To bring your friend home, to just chill, and they strap balls and chains to your ankles and says good luck and pushes you off a cliff and tells you to run down the mountain. The fact that he can be like, damn, thanks for saving me. If you weren't here, I would have died. Yeah, probably. Rick definitely died the most from him. I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear. Like, The comedy was just so good at the start of the episode, while simultaneously actually building this very cute connection. It's like a bromance, man, and I hope it continues. But it's funny, man, because like he's trying to find the location. He's like, oh, you know, it's kind of weird. Did I make a wrong turn? There's the Demon Lord's castle. It's like, bro, if that's not your sign to just run, I don't know what is. It's just so funny, it's so silly, but it's actually keeping the characterization going. We, of course, know just how strong Rick can be, and with the flashback, seeing that, you know, his trigger seemingly is rage and sorrow. If like there's enough of that going in, he can unleash his secret power, right? But it's something that he can't actively control, but as it's confirmed in this episode, if he could control it, he would be stronger than anyone else in that room, and potentially could be one of, if not the strongest in the entire world. So they're doing a good job at showing the progression of where you want to see Rick get. You know, Rick's starting to accept that he is strong. It's not to say he's not going to think other characters are stronger than him, because, I mean, look at the people who trained him. It's rightfully understandable that he would think they're stronger than him. But if he can now start to really progress and maybe harness those emotions, there's a lot of things he can do. And that's what's brilliant about this show, is that it could have stayed a slapstick comedy with Dumb Oaf, who's super strong, not knowing he's strong. And probably it would have worked for me for 12 episodes, especially if you look at the comedy of when he was going through the duels with the different siblings and that girl was doing her combat role, and he's like, damn, I've never seen something like that. I still think they're going to have comedy like that, but now rather than him being like, you know, I'm just pathetic, it most likely will be, oh, she or he's just really strong and I didn't see that one coming. But that just means I gotta get even stronger than I already am. Knowing where we can go with Rick's character now, with the development we've had only just over 5 short episodes, it has me really hopeful for the future of this show. But yeah, it definitely proved the haters wrong. There's a big difference between not liking the comedy of a show like this and simply being like, yeah, it's not for me, versus the people who think a show like this has to completely change its formula to fit their preference. Like, no, you just don't watch something that's clearly not made for you. But it is kind of insane to see the number of people who acted like Rick was going to be one of the worst characters of the year because he's just that bumbling oaf who doesn't understand his own strength, quickly become a character who had his eyes open. And we've had enough explanations between flashbacks and the likes of present day to understand why he was so gaslit into thinking he was weak, to now understanding that maybe even if he isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, given his upbringing, at the end of the day, he's a character with some decent-ass character development, and that's wonderful. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode, though, down below. I'm loving this show, loving the direction, but let me know what you're feeling down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout-out. Alrighty, so today we got Durberg Jude, Kevin J. Coleman, Third Dynasty, Arthur Kunha, Fabian, Toby, and we also have Tran Nugent. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.